everybody, and welcome back to some more FTB Skies 2. Today, we are going to be pursuing the next level of the FTB Pyramid. That means we need to get these three things: the Evolutionary Arcanum, the Time Prism, and the ultimate singularity. Now, I'm actually going to start by going from right to left rather than going in order of the quest line, because this is actually going to be the order of more simplicity for me. I mean, technically this one right here would be the simplest, but for the sake of purposes and stuff like that, we're just going to start with the ultimate singularity. So for us to get this, we need a few things. One would be 4 ultra dense metal balls, which I've already gotten. One would be a quantum computer core, which I was thankfully able to get from a quest reward. If you would go down into, I believe it's the Wild Hunt, the final thing to play for 100 hours in the legendary crate, it lets you choose a reward, and one of them is actually the quantum computer. Now, the rest of these is where this becomes a bit problematic. Quantum alloys and singularities. Both of these mean I do have to get into some AE2. And I also need this in a reaction chamber, which means I'm going to need to do this anyways. So, for us to start, we're first going to need to get ourselves this matter condenser. Now, for us to get it, I'm going to need to get myself some flux dust, which we can just go ahead and take ourselves a few of these flux crystals, which I believe I can just go ahead and crush in this crusher, actually. Like, if I take this over to here, will this work? It does not appear to work. Well, it seemed to work in any other one, it's fine. So, there we go. Now we've gotten ourselves a matter condenser. Now, what this thing is for is this, while being a crafting ingredient for our reaction chamber, it will also actually help us to get the singularity. But for us to do that, we would need either a 64K or a 256K ME storage component, which means we would need to actually get further into AE2 than I really want to. My plan was to swipe it from this quest reward, but it appears I need a singularity for that. So can I, by some chance, not get the thing I need? Okay, well, for us to do this, then it's not that hard. We just need to go ahead and get ourselves this thing here called the inscriber, which we can go ahead and hook up to power. And this is what would allow us to go ahead and get ourselves the press that we're gonna need in here. But for us to get those, we're gonna need specific presses. Now, normally what you would do is you'd get a mysterious cube, which you would find in a meteorite, but the meteorites have been disabled, and the mysterious cubes respond to wandering traders, which I don't seem to have any at the moment. So instead, I got some easy villagers, which one of them has a charger, the other does not. They both have the trades locked already, so I just switched it out. And this one does indeed give me the logic one, which is the one that I need for this, as it is the gold one. This one gives me the engineering one, which is one that I need later, but for right now, this is fine. So there we go. Now we got our logic press, and if we go ahead and throw this into here and then grab ourselves a piece of gold, this will pretty much just take these guys and combine it. It doesn't put an arrow over here though. No, it has a little bar over here, which gets us a printed logic circuit. Now, problem is, for us to be able to get ourselves the whole thing that we're going to need for this, we actually are going to also need a silicone press. Now, I don't have that, so instead what I did was I made myself some Certus quartz seeds. And so now, if I go ahead and grab myself some silicone, I can go ahead and surround that with some Certus quartz essence. After that, we can go ahead and just swap out our logic press with the silicone press, and then basically just do the same thing. It's really simple in the early stages of this. Then, all you would need to do is just combine these two together with redstone, which, to my understanding, kind of works as a binding agent, honestly, just to combine these two together, giving us our logic processor, which means we can now go ahead and take that, combine with some Certus quartz and some redstone, giving us our storage component, which should allow us to be able to make our basic stuff. As I had said, for us to get the singularity, we need 64 or higher, but we can actually make it with these matter balls inside of our reaction chamber. We're just gonna need to do little hops around some things first. So, we can go ahead and make ourselves some matter balls instead. Now, I don't believe that this needs power, but I do have a flux point on me just in case. So now what we do is we go ahead and put this thing up here, and this will tell us how much energy this thing can store. then we want the Emmy condenser to go into an output of matter balls. Here's the best part. What we would do for this is we could A, throw in a bunch of random items to be able to get our stuff, or B, and this is the more fun part, we can just simply go ahead and then pump in a bunch of water. So now, yep, we're starting to get ourselves our matter balls. The next thing that I'm gonna need, since I'm gonna need to use that for our reaction chamber, I'm gonna need to have that thing going while I'm doing this. We're also gonna need a vibration chamber. Now, the vibration chamber is not so bad. It looks like I'm only missing a couple things, which we can then go ahead and use to make our vibration chamber. After that, we're only missing a little bit of this flux dust with this, and then this baby, which is, in fact, done. Now we have ourselves our reaction chamber. So, now with this is actually going to help us make a lot of different things. But our main focus should just be the singularity, which we can go ahead and just grab ourselves a single bucket of lava. Now, this does use less lava than I'm putting in this, so this is going to be a little bit of an annoyance. But with our pouring in power, we should then get ourselves our singularity, which does clear up both of those quest lines, and that gives me another box of A2 goodies. An import bus. Oh, how I'm not going to use any of that. No, that is so beautiful. So there we go. Fortunately, we can actually use up the rest of this lava by simply putting in our singularities with this dust and also our sky stone, because with that, we will then get ourselves shattered singularities. And these guys are what we are going to need to be able to get our quantum alloy, which, as we all know, is something for the ultimate singularity. All we're going to need to do in that department is first make ourselves these shattered singularities. This should hopefully get us enough when we get through this, but I am going to duplicate more anyways just to be able to make sure. I'm really only making as many as I am like this, just so that way I can get rid of the lava. Otherwise, I'd just be duplicating this. And for those of you who don't know, it is duplication brought to you by Modern Industrialization, not sponsored. And after that, all we really need to do is just take one of these shattered singularities, throw it into this crusher, and now we get ourselves quantum infused dust. Then, what we can go and do is take this over to our reaction chamber, which I filled with 4 buckets of water, and then we should get ourselves not something in here, but something over here. We now have ourselves a quantum infusion. This is gonna be something that I'm gonna actually need 2 of. So I'm gonna need to go ahead and make myself another bucket of this. Because now all we can go ahead and do is throw one of these in here, and then combine with 4 copper, 4 of our shattered singularities, and 4 regular singularities. We should then grab ourselves our quantum alloy. So now what we can go ahead and do is just pour in our quantum infusion and then mix 8 of our quantum alloys with 2 netherites and 1 nether star. And then with 1 massive burst of power, we get ourselves our quantum plates. The last thing we need for our ultimate singularity. We just need to duplicate 16 of these, grab our dense metal balls and our cores, and a few more singularities. And also our cryofuel, which I made also with Modern Industrialization. We literally have it all. I just need to go ahead and bring it all together. Alrighty, it's the moment of truth. So now what we can go ahead and do, put our quantum computer core, our ultra dense metal ball, our quantum alloy, and our singularities. Taking a whole lot of power, we then get ourselves the ultimate singularity. The first of our new trophies to be able to get us the next layer of the pyramid. We can go ahead and put that over here on our display stand. That is probably one of the worst parts of this whole thing done. The next thing that we're gonna need is gonna be this Time Prism. The Time Prism is actually not that bad. We just need a nitro capacitor, which I already should have a lot of nitro crystals. Yeah, I just need to get another capacitor, which I believe I should have a large one of those inside of my replicator, yeah. So then if we go ahead and speed that baby up, we should then just be able to go ahead and grab this thing here, no problem. The rest of these are also pretty much as easy. We need a prismatic Zychromium, which on the surface here looks like a bit. We're gonna need some more of these empowered diamatite crystals, which I may or may not have, as well as a nether star. But then we're also just gonna need these different Zychorium gems, which, while they all do come inside of their own ores, the easiest for this is really to just drop a dye of their corresponding color with some quartz dust into some molten kivy. Molten kivy is very easy to get. I just need to go ahead and grab myself my normal kivy, and then I should just be able to go ahead and smelt it down into here. Aha, so I am a big dum-dum. It needed to be crushed kivy for me to be able to melt this baby down. So now all I should need to do is just put a bucket into here, drain out the molten kivy, which once it is all in here, it should just automatically turn into a bucket. Yes, it has. And then I should just be able to plop this here, and then if I go ahead and just drop all of these in here, that should be all of them. Yes, yes it is. We then get ourselves all of our different zirconium gems. So now all we should need to do is just go ahead and throw all of these in here with our empowered diamantite crystals, which I did have some left over, and another star, and then throw in our polymorphic fluid, which this all combined together in about 4, 3, 2, 1 gives us our prismatic zirconium, the next thing that we need for this. These next two are incredibly easy. It's literally just craftings for these guys. So if I go ahead and put these guys over here, the Chronon battery is basically from Tempad, which I haven't really delved into, but it's like, yeah, I can go ahead and just craft 2 of those right off the bat. They already hold some semblance of power. Then we just need this time steel, which just takes some more netherite scrap. Actually, do I have any ancient debris? No. Okay, well, take 2. We can go ahead and get ourselves our time steel, which then we can just go ahead and combine all that. And literally, that's everything we need for the Chronon battery. The final thing we need is just some of this timeless slurry. Now, I just need a bottle of it, so I shouldn't need to make that much. But what we're going to need is we're going to need this alchemist cauldron, which is incredibly easy to get. I just need to go ahead... Well, that put it in there now, so I guess that works. I just need to go ahead and combine all that together, which then gets us the alchemist cauldron. Then, I believe if I just go ahead and make myself a mundane potion, I should just be able to put it in. Okay, so I have literally no idea as to how long I've been away for, but just know we did get it. The Chronon battery was literally just a bunch of crafting. Like, I literally had everything for that, and it was no problem. And then a timeless slurry was just making an alchemist cauldron from iron spells. It was very easy. And then with a mundane potion, which we could go ahead and get into there, with an echo shard, we got our timeless slurry, just slapped that in a bottle, and that gave us everything. I believe I also made the nitro capacitor, but that was like, I already had everything for that, so that was no problem. Now, all we need is just the time crystals, which I believe that part I was paused for. And for this, we just need to be in the Just Dire Things quest line, and it tells us everything we need in here. I'd already read that, so all I need to do is just go over to my Shadow Pole SKU with this baby right here, the cardboard box, and then go ahead and take that off. And then we will reveal the budding amethyst within. And what this is going to do is this is going to start slowly consuming this. And then what's going to happen is this should then get ourselves our budding time crystal. This is not yet complete though, because for the time crystal to work, it needs to absorb the energies within 3 different dimensions. You could probably guess what those are, but they are as follows. The overworld, which we need to let this stay here for a little bit. I might actually be able to time pouch this to be able to get it to absorb faster. And yeah, there we go. Now it has turned blue. So now this thing should be ready for us to move on to the next dimension, which is, of course, the nether. So then we can just go ahead and speed this baby up again. It turns orange once more. And then for the final time, we can head off to the final dimension, which as many of you probably guessed is, of course, the end. So we can just go ahead, speed this baby up, and then it should go ahead and absorb the final bits of energy here in a second. Any second now. This one is actually taking a way longer. But there we go. It is now full. We now have ourselves our budding time crystals. Here's what I could do. Oh, it's already run out. So yeah, that is the risk with this. I need this baby to be able to absorb a full bud before it runs out of juice. And I don't know if I can do that, so this is gonna be fun.
20 minutes later.
Okay, so I realized a few things. One, the cut paste gadget would actually be way better for this, as this thing would actually let me bring the unfinished buddings with me to the different places. So this thing would actually still be able to grow. Second thing was to use a hoe. So that way I could do the whole twerk mod thing with this. So with that, we should now be able to go ahead and grab ourselves our time crystals. So now with all of this fully ready, and hopefully no footage was actually lost, because I'm a dumbo, we can now go ahead and combine all of this together with a whole lot of power that I really don't know how much it's actually going to use, because it doesn't really want to tell me how much it's going to use. It could very well actually take forever, and I would never really be able to know. But there we go. We now have ourselves our Time Prism. If we go back over to here, the next thing that we need, bridging the gap for all of these guys, which means there's only one thing left that we need, the Evolutionary Arcanum. Now, for this baby, I need two things, the Trinity Gem and the Primordial Assembly. I already have the Trinity Gem. I had made that a few episodes ago when I went into our occultism. Now, I am going to want to duplicate one more of these, and also because there is something else over here that we are going to need, because the next thing, the Primordial Assembly, is made with very simple recipe, just some saplings, and astute assembly, and gold over here in this thing, and with a cool little laser, because, like, look at that. This mod is so cool. We then get ourselves our Primordial Assembly. Now, this is where this becomes a bit unfortunate. For us to get this, we need to use a particle accelerator.
Oh, hell no!
The minimum collision energy we need for this is 1,500... No, that's a different number. This is 15,000 joules. This baby, as I have it now, can only make 2,500 joules. So, for me to be able to get this to the level I need it, I need to level up my particle accelerator not by 1 level, but by 2. And I had to copy paste this in because this was all a whole thing. So I'm gonna need to very possibly tear down this whole thing, rebuild it bigger, and also do a bunch of testing to make sure that this is gonna work. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all that. And I will see you all when I am certain that this should work.
3 hours later.
Alrighty, it's the moment of truth. For reference, here is a picture of my particle accelerator a few hours ago. Here it is now. Yeah, this took me several hours to figure out how to get it to work in this mod pack. There was a lot of stuff that I needed to get around to doing, but here it is. The final stage of this particle accelerator. I will do everything in my power to get around messing with this stupid thing again. Especially since this might not be doable right now. Because you can see my power, right? It's all the way up now. When I jump-started this thing to get all the power inside of the accelerators, it drained everything. This is about to be insane. So here's what we need to do. For those of you who don't know, we put in an item in the dropper. One of the things that we need to collide. Because once this thing gets up to speed, it should give enough redstone power to then activate the other particle accelerator to send that particle in here, causing these to collide. And now, we just need to start this thing. Here we go, for the last time, hopefully, in case anything goes wrong. The particles are accelerating. They're colliding. Well, they're not quite colliding yet, but first, we need to get this all the way through. And yes, it goes to the next ring. Oh my goodness. This is about to become the most insane thing you have all ever seen. Because once this is over, it will either be a great success or a great big headache for me. But I copied this straight from my creative world where I was setting all this up, so I should be able to use it because I had a copy-paste gadget to do all this. Okay, here it goes. It's coming in. It should collide over here in 2, 1... Okay. Is it over here? No. Is it over here? It wasn't fast enough. I know for a fact that these were fast enough. I tested this in the creative world. Something here may have gone wrong. Okay. I finally did it. Just barely. So, I think my problem may have been that beforehand in the creative world, I was using a creative energy to be able to get to these. So since I didn't have as much energy to distribute, it was not doing as well with just those guys. So I needed to add a few more of the particle accelerator linear motors all around the outside rim just to sort of even it out. But here we go. We've gotten our Evolutionary Arcanum, which we can go ahead and slap right over there and grab ourselves our FTB Pyramid mid-lower layer. All we need to do now is just go ahead and assemble this layer. Do I have a diamond stick? I'm pretty sure I do still have a builder stick. Yeah, because that's what this thing does, is it lets me just go ahead and builder's wand this whole thing. And then we can just go ahead and bring this out. And there it is. The next layer of the pyramid is finally ready. Oh my goodness. And it's becoming incredibly more flashy as we go along. I'm kind of worried that we might end up getting a whole seizure warning once I get to the end game of it, which is coming very soon. There's only a few more things we need for this. Oh my goodness, it is great. But that is for later. For right now, I have spent so dang long on this, I just want to go down for a nap or something, so the only thing I need to do now is open up today's chance cube! Yes, it is that part of the show where I risk my entire series for all your entertainment. Let's see what happens. The fact that this is not centered bothers me, but it could have been worse. You know what? That's fine. So did you like this video? Good. Then be sure to check out our last video where we went through Ender IO for 2 more pieces of our pyramid. Bye!